Dude, every time my phone rings with like a ka-ching, I'm like, ठीक है, हो गया.
Current girlfriend walks in wearing your outfit, like a ruology outfit.
Smash!
Someone called it baklava, my shit pants, your shit pants, those shit pants.
How much do we puff the bloody thing?
You must be new to the industry. Learn your way around it.
Babe, it's IFA.
Hi fam, welcome back to another episode of Ruology Ramble, where we let the audacious souls take over and the fashion world gets all the more real. This one might just be my most favorite episodes because we have fellow founders from homegrown brands who know what it takes to start a brand right from the bottom to the top. And today we have not one, but two really inspiring guests who are not just participating in the fashion scene, but are defining it. We have got with us trend setters and not trend chasers. Without further ado, let's welcome Vaishnavi Bala, the founder of Balav, and Riya Khanna, the co-founder of Rising Among. Hi guys.
Hello.
So this is something that we always do with all our guests. We like to let our guests sort of introduce themselves because nobody can tell your stories better than yourself. So just a quick intro would be amazing.
Cool. You want to go first?
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so yeah, like you mentioned, I'm Riya Khanna. I'm the co-founder of Rising Among, and I started Rising Among with my roommate and business partner from college. We studied in New York together, and Rising Among was born out of the true desire to start a conversation behind your clothes and just like expressive apparel in general, and also the question asking, "What are you rising among?" And that's what we're trying to define.
Would you like to?
Hi, I'm Vaishnavi Bala and I'm the founder of Balav. I think, like she already mentioned, conversation starter is like that one thing that holds all us brands together. But I do confident clothing for performers and artists. That's like my main audience. And as a brand, we promise to give you something wherein you're wearing a Balav piece and at least five people come and ask you, oh, I like what you're wearing, where's that from? So that's the promise I give you as a designer. And yeah, I think it's really fun being a designer apart from the hectic business side of it, but I think we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've talked about, like, both of you all have introduced yourselves as founders. Now, before we get into the, hows and whats of the brands, I want to know what would you define yourself as, if not as brand founders, if not as designers, like as a creative, if you were not a designer, what would you be? What would you call yourself?
Um,
An artist. Uh, yeah, more. I mean, so this is like that question, right? When you have all the money in the world, what would you do? Type of a thing.
Sort of.
Yeah, I think I'd just create different things because I have this urge of making things that kind of stand out, and like I've always wanted to do that, wherein there's like 10 things, but the 11th one is like, oh, what is that? So yeah, if not a designer, I'm surely going to be someone who'd be creating different things, maybe.
So something that definitely starts a conversation.
For sure, for sure.
funny story, when I wrote my college essay, the final line which kind of I feel got me in was that I want to be a person who conceptualizes and sees the final product from like beginning to finish. And
Right.
that's what has been my goal since day one, be it whatever, even if it's like a digital project or like a physical product, anything it is. I just want to be able to have the whole process be delivered to my end consumer in the most perfect way possible.
Right, so you're a process oriented person. You enjoy the journey more than
Yeah.
the
Outcome.
destination. Love that. We should all sort of do that.
important.
So important. But yeah, so that brings me to my next very interesting question. So we have all sort of started from somewhere. I know, for some of us, it must have been this dream, must have been right from our childhood. For some of us, it just came somewhere. So, I just want to know at what point did you design your first unofficial outfit. Like for example, for me, I was in 8th grade and I am also a dancer. So I was just sitting in my dance class while my seniors were practicing for their competition. And I had this habit of just sketching out, little drawings. And one of my seniors used to always see me. She came to me one day and she's like, listen, can you sketch out something for my competition? Just sketch it out and we'll make it happen. Like snip, snow, safety pin, whatever, we'll make it happen. So that was my first unofficial design.
That's
so
really cute. Yeah.
I really want to know what was your sort of, it can be anything, like your first design that made you feel like, okay, now this is my calling.
I feel my first ever encounter with doing something like that was in the 11th grade again. Like I made like this cupcake brand where I did like this cute little cupcake box. I was obsessed with the Low 15 cupcakes. So that was kind of like my, go-to for like all things sweet, like the red velvet and like the chocolate. So I love the colors. I'm a very, pink person. So that the whole thing kind of, coming together, putting that whole project together, it really kind of like inspired me to go into the creative line as a whole, and that's when I explored this entire side of me. Because to be honest, before that I've always been like science and I want to become a doctor, so it's a very different line that
Yeah.
I've like chosen because my mom is a doctor. So I was like, yeah, I always want to become a doctor. I love biology. Never explored this side, but it was always in me, when I kind of like got exposed to it. So yeah, my first like little cupcake store was my
So
first
you
ever.
made like cupcakes as well, or
Well,
just,
not
like, the
really.
branding
My
bit?
mom does baking, so she helped me with the cupcakes. But like, of course, the branding. I went to the stores and I made like this whole box. I made like a cupcake van. I painted it out, and like just brought that whole. If I had a cupcake store, it was called Sugar Velvet.
Oh,
That's a
I
nice
love
name.
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got a
It's
ring to
very
it.
easy.
Yeah.
So if I had a cupcake store, that's how it would come. And another plus point, I got an A in that. So I was like, okay, I've always been the one for like good grades.
So I think I don't remember how old I was, but fairly young, maybe around 7, 8-ish. And there was some wedding in the family, and my cousin and I, both of us, we found this sequin pink fabric. Like my mum got it for us, and I remember there was this tailor under my building. So I was like, let's go to him and like figure it out. And I just saw this picture on the internet, like random. I think it was a Barbie. So it's like this halter neck pink sequin dress, and they used to have these gloves that had no hand,
Yes.
like the
Yes,
the
yes.
sleeve, that thing. And that's what I made, like very far from where I'm at today in terms of my
course, of
style.
course,
But
we're all-
yeah, I think that's the first outfit, and I made 2 of it, one for me and my sister. So after that, every time we'd have like a wedding in the house, we'd like be twinning and wearing the same outfits.
How
So I think that's where it started.
Yeah, I think the whole wedding thing is so relatable because
Yeah.
as children, we also had like tailors, at every corner, and we just be like, okay, let's take this fabric. I remember taking fabrics from my daddy's sarees.
Everyone.
And
I
all.
still do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
still
Like, it's
literally
so
do it.
amazing. There's nothing like it right now. But like,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, that was like a fun little banter, but let's quickly go back a little because I'd love to know the journeys behind Balav and Rising Among. So tell me, guys, how did it all begin? Like, tell us, did you always know you wanted this brand? You wanted it this way? Did you do some internships? Did you do a formal education? How did it all start?
So with me, I was always like pretty clear. I did my science, but
Science.
I think when I was in the 7th or 8th, I started with like Karan Johar movies. So I keep watching these movies where like fashion is, everyone's wearing like these extra outfits. And back in the day, I remember there's this one movie, I don't know who made it, but Hello Brother, where there was Rani Mukherjee and she's wearing this blue Tommy Hilfiger slip dress. And ever since I saw that dress, I threw a fit in my house. So I wouldn't step out of the house until and unless I was made to wear that particular dress, to a point that I would go out in the same outfit every day. I think that's when my family also realized I'm like a little flip and I have to do this. And my mom told me that I think after the 12th, I had threatened them that if I don't get to do fashion, I'm gonna commit suicide.
Oh my God.
It was not in a serious way, like this guys, I don't want this to blow out of proportion. That wasn't the case. But as a dumb kid, I was like, no, this is what I'm doing. Others, I don't want to live life anymore type of
Oh
a
my
thing.
God.
You were just very
And
gutsy.
yeah,
like
I was
that.
very like
Very
headstrong,
outspoken.
and I wouldn't have done shit even if they didn't let me to do
And
it.
you still
but
are.
yeah.
Gutsy and headstrong.
So that's how I picked onto it, and then yeah, I went and did my undergrads from NIFT. I went and did my masters in Milan, and when I was there, I realized that I don't want to work under anybody, because in fashion, I don't think you get the credit as a designer or the pay. To be very honest, so I was like, if I want to do something, I want to be original. If I'm working under a designer, I don't know if I'll ever get the credibility. So why don't I start my own thing? Because I was very clear that this is what I want to wear, and the biggest pushing factor for me was that whatever I wanted to wear or whatever was trending was never available in any stores. That's how I was like, you know what, I'll just make it. And that's where my whole journey as a designer like started. So I think at peak COVID is when I started the brand, but I finished 4 years next month.
Wow.
So fun.
Yes, didn't we all? COVID babies.
Yeah.
Like I said, like in 11th, I took up graphics and like, design as like a subject. So that sparked the interest in me. But soon after, I discovered the world of Instagram very wide and open. And I've always been obsessed with like I said, aesthetically curating, right? So like magazines and like Pinterest boards and like those kind of things. I made a lot of that, and it naturally flowed. Like fashion naturally flowed through me then. But I was not sure that I want to go into designing as such, because, like again, I've all had a business background. Like my family comes from like business, and that was kind of instilled in me since a child. My dad took me to my first ever Lakme Fashion Week because he had like some passes and things like that. And the next year I interned there with like one of the designers, and that's when my eyes like opened, and I was like, yes, this is the world I want to be in. I want to be behind fashion weeks, and that's where I've been. So I'm really happy about that. But that eventually led me to like explore New York as a city, because it was like a hub for fashion. Again, I was never going to move abroad. I had applied to NIFT as well. But it was like a whim. Like my parents were like, let's just like try this out, because the course that I wanted to do, fashion business management per se, was not available here in India for a long time. Very recently it started come up again, because it was always design related, and I honestly didn't want to get into sewing. That was something that I was not interested in. So I was like, why does it always have to be stitching? There's also the part about selling the products, seeing it on people, putting it together. But of course, COVID had to come upon all of us. And Amrita and I have been very grateful to be roommates for like 4 or 5 years. And she'd always been the more like creatively inclined person. Literally at 3 a.m. in the night, we would talk about like, oh, if we had a brand one day, what would it be? With no intention of like starting a brand, because again, she also wanted to go into corporate. We both did internships at like I worked at Nike Kidswear. I worked in like a fashion forecasting company called Fashion Snoops. So I was very inclined to like, just become like buyer, merchandiser, head buyer, whatever, and like, curate my entire life around that. But very like funnily enough, COVID hit, and we had to come back, because I literally came back in like a mission flight. I took one of those, where we had PPE suits, we had like 3 layers of masks, didn't use the washroom for 16 hours in the flight, and we came back, spent 14 days in quarantine in like a hotel here, literally. And Amrita came back with me at the time, and that's when kind of like Rising Among started in quarantine, because we were like, okay, what about our 4 year of degree now? And like, what has happened? Literally, like, what are we doing? So yeah, we literally rose among that entire period, and that's where the name also kind of like comes from. So we came back again. We were in another 2 weeks of quarantine because the society didn't allow us to like step out and all of that. So we were just like, for 1 month, we were literally inside, stuck, 2 of us. And she couldn't stay still. She ordered a sewing machine, and we started making masks, reflective on it. And we took up like denim, and we started making like first ever tops were made by her. We modeled, we shot it in-house in like one room.
But you've already told us the, meaning behind the name, where this name came from, because that's what my next question was going to be. I wanted to know how the names Balav and Rising Among sort of came out. So we know Rising Among now. Now I want to know Balav. I know it's a fun like wordplay on your last name.
So, I mean, a lot of people actually think my name's Vaishnavi Balav, but it's Vaishnavi Bala. And the V comes from my name, so it's just a play. And it's not Balav, Ballav, Balavi, Pulao. I don't know what someone called it Baklava. So it's Balav, guys. Buhlaav is the pronunciation. But yeah, I think it's very easy. It's like my name, and I was very clear that I want my baby to be like around my name. And it was a very funny story actually. I was at a friend's house and I was confused between. I was like, okay, it needs to sound like Gucci, Prada. I wanted to be like Bala, but then there's this brand in the LA which is a sportswear brand called Bala. So then I was stuck between Bala V and Vibala, and my friend was like, dude, that sounds so lame. Let's just do Balav. And he has a slight accent. He's like, what about Balav?
Balav.
I was like, because you said it, yes. Yeah, I like how that sounds.
Yeah.
That's how it came into life.
I think it's always the friends now calling you
always
out
the-
on your bullshit, because for Ruology also, I was like, I think I have written like at least 20-25 names, and my best friend, she's just like, what are you saying? No. And I'm very like, I am a storyteller, so everything needs to have a meaning. So with Ruology also, the idea was, I wanted it to mean ki, I'm putting out something from my soul. So now the idea became Logy is the science of. And Ru is not just my last name, but it also means soul. So it was like,
Ru,
yeah.
like Ru.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like the science of my
Science
soul.
is literally with us today.
Yeah, science
literally
is
with
like
science today.
Yeah. But yeah, super fun stuff.
We also launched another brand recently. It's like an Indian wear brand, and that's called Amuri, because that's again another play on our names, and that also means like love and friendship. So it's just like our names are just coming together in different places.
Love that. So, guys, I've seen both your brands. They've grown so much over the years, I think, since COVID. But, like, would you say, like you said, that you always knew that this is what you wanted to do? And as a child, you had a very different style, but growing up, it changed. So, like, what genre do you think you guys started with? And do you think you all are deviating now, or how is it going?
So I think with me, I've been very on one track for a while. So my very first collection after NIFT, my graduate collection, was inspired by Mumbai auto rickshaws. So I've just had this thing with like my life, my city, and everything around me that inspires me. Then when I went to Milan, my collection was inspired by Mumbai local trains. Then there was no transport left, so I was like, okay, now something else has to happen.
Cities are always the best kind of
And I think it's
inspiration.
also easy because you've been living there, you've been seeing this for so long, so you kind of pick onto it. So I started with, I wouldn't call it streetwear, but like a high fashion blend with a little bit of street. But eventually, I think I moved more towards luxury because I was very clear that, okay, I don't want this to just be put into one category or one bracket, but I want this to be something wherein tomorrow, if I'm creating formal wear, that becomes luxury formal wear. Or like even if I'm more, if I want to make a lehenga, it doesn't become like, oh, why is this brand doing it? So that's what like an identity that I want to create with my brand. So I've been more or less on the same track, but I'm trying to explore like into newer directions eventually, because I don't want to limit myself like at all.
Definitely. Like, I think as creatives, we all can agree ki we just want to keep creating something new because we just get so bored.
And when you don't create something new, I think you also get like demotivated in a way as a designer, because you don't want to like, I don't know, you need to see that, okay, I made this and this is what it's come, this is what has come out of it.
And
The
it sort of keeps you
process.
going. Yeah, because like you said in the start, most of the time we're sort of doing the business and there's so much little time that we get to actually create.
Because you're wearing a CEO hat and you're like, okay, I forgot, but like I started with like a creative, idea.
Yeah, you're wearing way too many hats. That's what it is.
I also did turn.
I wouldn't call it like deviating so much, but I'd call it adapting, because it's very important. Like in the beginning also we spoke about like how I have always wanted to see the final product at the right place, at the right time, with the right person. So it's very important because people are moving on with the times, so we have to move with them, right? Customer is king at the end of the day, so we have to, like, of course, give people what they love and give them more of it, and add your own style to it, add your own touch to it. So I think Rising Among very initially started off as, the main idea was to create expressive apparel, and what are you rising among? That's the question that comes up in someone's head when they're wearing a piece of clothing, be it like a jacket which kind of like opens up, becomes a vest, or for example, one of our taxi tops which has blown up out of proportion. We never thought that product out of that collection will. But the kind of identity it gives a person, it feels like I'm sitting in a New York taxi. And like you mentioned about cities, right? Like, it's very important. Like, we've also been very inspired by the cities we've lived in, New York and Mumbai, and how that has shaped our identity and style as a person. And it has just like made us live those moments again through these clothes. Like, that's what I feel like. Our entire New York collection, it was called Homecoming, and it was like a slice of the city which we are bringing to everyone. And I feel that was really well received because you said you love storytelling, and that's exactly what is selling nowadays. Like, you need to add that story, and people need to feel the product, not just like physically, but also like emotionally, internally. And with whatever you create, however the trends change, I think that's something that has to stay constant.
So I think from both your stories and even my own story, I think we all sort of, went out on a whim and did this. We started our own brands, and took sort of, like, it takes guts, right, to just wake up one day and be like, okay, we want to have a brand. So I want to know, what was that one thing in the initial days that sort of, gave you this feeling ki, okay, you know what, we've made it, this is the right direction. Like, not made it in the sense where all our dreams have come true, because that's never going to happen. We're dreamers, we're going to keep dreaming. But like, this one teeny tiny thing that happens that makes you feel so fulfilled
that you've achieved something.
Yeah, and then you feel like, okay, this was the right call to start this, to do this.
Dude, every time my phone rings with like a ka-ching, I'm like, theek hai, ho gaya.
That's the best sound in the world.
Kuch to kiya hai maine. Like, I've done something to hear this, for someone to like want this. That's every single time it happens. Even if it is just like, even from the first till today, like every single time I hear it, I'm like, okay, thank you God for this. And
so
this is what has made me like here. But also, like, looking at the larger picture, the design of the taxi top, how we designed it on like a whim versus how it has come out to be in reality, and like seeing it on so many people, like, and probably like the first 50th order of it, or like the 100th order of it, like that thing, I'm like, 100 people want this, really? Like, that's something where I'm like, wow, like, that's what has really made me feel better than any other kind of appreciation that you also get.
Definitely.
But like, of course, every product is special and every product is my favorite.
Sometimes what
But
happens is the product where you put like the lowest amount
Least
of
effort.
effort into overthinking is the one that
Always.
blows out of proportion.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. So now I've just stopped overthinking. I'm like, okay, this, if I don't like it, I'm like, okay, this is the one.
Yeah. For me, that's like, okay, we of course like show a lot of our like collections and everything to my family, right? So my mom is seeing it, and when she's like, this is thoda atpata sa, and I'm like, haan, bas, this is the one that's gonna go everywhere now. This is the one that everyone's gonna love. Whichever product she says that to, that's the one. That is it.
Me, it's my dad. Whatever he says, like, Peter, this is thoda ajeeb. I'm like, okay, bestseller.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your moment that made you?
I think so with me, the day I launched, actually, I think you know the story, right? So I was supposed to launch at the Magnetic Fields. I was supposed to do a pop-up there. At the airport, I got
Oh yeah,
COVID.
your friends.
Yeah, and my friends
Right.
went and did it for me.
That's so cute.
And honestly, so when I was supposed to do this pop-up, I must have sent like 40 pieces, okay? I don't know anything about business. 40 pieces, I've put the pricing and everything. I have counted ki itne ke saath my friends are going to come back. Everything's selling. This is the money they're going to come back with. And they sold 2 pieces, which I was like, oh shit, like the rest, what happened to the 38? That's when reality hit me. But after this event, I started rigorously marketing on. There was this app where we used to keep talking. during
Arey,
COVID.
yeah, dude.
Oh shit.
Proposo?
No.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
So on Clubhouse,
Yeah,
I
God.
went like crazy.
Yeah, I remember.
Every day I'd just go.
And talk.
I don't know who's in that room, okay? I'd be like, hi, I'm Vaishnavi. I'm doing this. This is
We
my
all,
brand. Go
even
check
I
it out.
marketed myself there, yeah.
Fully,
So
like
much.
that. I think a lot of
ballsy,
us
that's-
met also on
It was
like this
scary.
app.
Like I was scared first because I'm not such
Yeah,
an
because
open
you don't
person.
know
I'm
who's
not.
on
Like,
I
you
think
know.
there it became like this open LinkedIn situation.
Huh.
Everyone just at it. So we're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I remember a few people actually started asking me, oh, where's your website? And at this point, I didn't think this through, because I've just launched. I had no blueprint, business model, nothing. And when people start asking me, oh, where's the website? Where's the website? And I'm like, okay, it's coming. To a point that I have to keep constantly telling my customers that, dude, it's coming. And suddenly, so the lost my shit pants for me. This was that one pant where I was like, for women and men, you don't get pants that have a drop crotch that make you look snatched in a way that for a guy, it fits perfectly, but for a girl, her hip is also proper, but so is her waist. And this
Very
was that pant for me where I was like, you know what, you get 4 pockets, 5 pockets, let me do 12. And this pant blew up. Like the first piece I designed, I stitched it myself. And everyone just like, oh, I want those pants. They start calling it my shit pants, your shit pants, those shit pants. I was like, see, as long as you remember the name, shit is shit. This is the shit, you guys. This is the shit. This is the shit.
That's so nice.
That's when I was like, you don't really need to. I made, say, 7 products. Out of 7, this was the one product where I put zero brain into, oh, what will people think? Or like,
Yeah.
logo ko acha lagega ki nahi, will this sell? I was like, this, I have to put this out. And that's the one that picked up. And then the response that I got after Magnetic Field, suddenly everyone's like, oh, you're the girl from Balav, you're like Balavi. And I was like, okay, as long as you remember the name,
Yeah, it's
I'm
good enough.
really impressed. And I got my first order when I got COVID. And I didn't see an order coming, so I have no packaging, nothing. Like, I just have the product. And I got an order with zero expectation. So at home, I've stitched my packaging dust bag. I have gone myself. So whenever I finished, like I think I got my order on the 11th day of quarantine. 17th day I've gone to deliver this myself.
Yeah, I've
And
delivered so
that's
many
when
orders
I was like,
myself.
okay, wow, like this, like the first sale actually gave me that confidence that I can sell stuff. Like this is it for
This
me.
is the right call. But I think, yeah, we've done it all. We've delivered the product, we've stitched it, we've like, I don't know, at some point I remember even sweeping the floor because no one's there. We've all sort of started from the scratch, started from nowhere, maybe with one Karigar, one Master Ji, out of a garage, out of a friend's place. So, there's this debate that's been going on recently with the whole Instagram marketing so out there where some people are like, you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And some people are like, you gotta show the real thing, do the real thing, and show it for what it is. So, like, where do you guys stand on it? What do you think works in the bigger picture?
I think 100% real. That's what I've been doing because how much can you even fake it? Like at one point, initially I used to be like, I need to have the perfect light, the perfect
Yeah.
background, perfect this, that, whatever, in order to post a reel. And someone just like, I'd have a lot of models come to my workshop and we do a shoot in one corner and they're like, you know what, this actually looks good because this is the mess that people want to see because you're giving them a perfect piece. But what happens behind it? People
Behind.
think कि okay ये बाहर कहीं outsource होके बन के आ रहा है. But no, I have my own production unit. I have a team of 2 people apart from me. And we make everything in house. So when I started showing that, suddenly I think people also realized that, oh, she's doing all of it. She's not like just sending the design to like a production unit and getting it done.
Yeah.
And it kind of also gave people insight to my team or like how my workshop looks or what it is that's going on in my head that's helping me create in some way. So I think somewhere fake it till you make it is not for people, it's for you. Like when you're faking it, your brain kind of gets wired to think of it in a way that okay, this is where I'm at right now. But when you're showing what's real for the other person who's the perceiver, I think it makes it more easy for them to have faith in you. So the faking bit is for yourself, but the real is for like the viewer.
Yeah, that makes
that's what
so
I think.
much sense. Yeah.
No, I mean I agree with that because the minute you start showing people like we had like this eureka moment where I was like, okay, you need to show yourself up to people, right? So of course, how I'm showing myself up in the most realist way possible in front of people. But of course, there have been like moments of like when you're seeking this, okay, I need the most perfectly curated feed, I need the most perfectly looking like shot and like those kind of things. There are moments where it comes up because we've been wired that way, I think, to present the most best looking thing. But again, like I said, we're adapting, we're changing to show the real process because that's exactly what people want to see. And that's exactly what it's how we've come here. So why do we hide it? What is the point of hiding it? There's no like, it doesn't make sense to kind of just like cover it up with a velvet covered cloth just to show it off to someone.
How much can you even do that?
Yeah.
Like you can't be consistent if you're trying to be like perfect. This is what I learned, right? Like if you're trying to be perfect, it's not going to work out. But just start shabby. In the process, it will kind of happen.
Yeah, this is something that keeps me also going, and this is the problem that I had initially, where I was so nitpicky about everything that I think for the first 6 months I used to just go like, okay, this is not perfect, I need to stop the brand. Khatam. And my best friend is the one who used to tell me, listen, no, you have to keep going. And then I came across this very, quote that said ki just start
Just
shabby and perfect it on the way, but just do it.
Yeah, because if you see every brand, okay, that's really made it today. What I've done is, so for Jacquemus, for example, I love the brand, I love the guy. I have gone to his first poses. One day I sat for 3.5 hours. I've just gone swiping to check कि इसने start कहाँ से किया है. Dude, the guy would post anything, like any zero
People
sense.
post
Okay, like
nothing.
there's like a piece of paper on the floor. He'll take a picture, post it, and he won't post it once. The grid ka 3 pictures will be that picture. And I was like, dude, he started with this, and now he's doing these fancy posts with like celebrities and all of that. But this nobody remembers, nobody cares. Now they remember him for what he's doing. Probably back then people would have been like, oh, what is he doing? But it doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna talk, and I think when you make it, you make it. So
Exactly. It
I
just
made peace
doesn't
with that.
matter. Yeah.
That's why like even now I've started making reels where I am unhinged. Like people are like, bro, how can you say that? I'm like, I can.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. Like there's no point holding back because this is
Yeah.
something everybody wants to say, but they just feel like, oh, what's that person gonna think of me like? But eventually, when you make it, they're gonna forget everything.
Yeah, and that is what is going to become like, oh, she
Your
said
identity,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
Because so many people shame me in the beginning. You're like, oh my god, you're a brand owner. Why are you making like reels? I'm like, bro, like, are you paying for my clothing or the
Exactly.
investment? No. So why am I supposed to listen to anybody? I'm gonna make reels because if this is helping me make a sale, it's not even about selling. Honestly, the reel is for me to like, I want to give value to my customer, and if I'm just putting my piece like a product out, they're like, okay, like what do I do about this? But when I make that reel, it kind of makes them understand what is the story behind my product, how to wear it, or not even the product, why is it important to get dressed? Because that's
Yeah.
something most people don't know. They feel like, oh, you're in fashion, you
So
have
you
to
can
get
get
dressed.
dressed.
मुझे like मैं तो
We
यहाँ पे आ
cannot
जाऊँगा.
carry this.
Yeah, we
That's
cannot carry.
one
This
thing
is
that I
not for
hear
me.
so much that
I'm
you
not
you
good enough.
can carry this so well. Wow, it's looking amazing on you,
Yeah.
but not for me.
Because
Arey,
you're in
it's a
fashion.
piece of clothing. It's for everyone. It's
Yeah.
not that something is for you and not for me or the other way around. Like it's something that everyone can wear.
Of course, and like you said, even if it does not drive a sale, it has sparked a conversation.
And
Yeah,
that's what's
that's the
important.
purpose.
That is the purpose of fashion, right? Everything that you do, every collection that you roll out, something or the other that you do has to spark a conversation, because we're not out here just to make clothes, we're out here to sort of weave stories, right? So that actually brings me to this really interesting campaign that you did, which was called Sari to Street, and you sort of featured like a 64-year-old model, and I was so intrigued by that, and I really want to know like what made you come up with that concept, and like how did people respond?
So what happened was my nani had passed away, and I was really, really close to her. So, I mean, I've been born and brought up by my mum, nana, and nani. So after my nani passed away, I was like, I want to do something, and we put her ashes actually in the Juhu beach. And this shoot was kind of like a tribute to her. So I had taken her old sari, two of her old saris, and I was like, usually when everyone's talking about streetwear, the biggest myth is that streetwear is a big cargo pant and a big t-shirt. And I think all of us agree with that. Like I do not think that defines streetwear at all. So this was my kind of step to breaking that idea. And I was like, even when it comes to models, a lot of people feel like, oh, your model needs to be this pretty young looking
The
female, which
stereotypical.
again I don't agree with. I feel
Yes.
like my clothes, I've always had models who are vibing with the brand, who are cool enough to pull off this brand, because not even cool enough, I think confident enough to wear these clothes. So the idea behind the shoot was that I wanted, I'd actually put a call out for models, and I remember her name. So Neeta auntie reached out to me. She's like, oh, I can do it. And I was like, are you sure? Because I have it's like a hoodie dress type thing and it zips up to here. She's like, oh, however short, I'm down. I was like, wow, like I love, I mean, that's been my best shoot so far. And this was a collaborative shoot actually with this photographer named India. And she'd come down from London. So she's like this photographer based in London. And we were like, let's do something fun. And this outfit was, it had like this South Indian cultural mix with today's like modern day streetwear or like modern day fashion. And we blended that and we made these outfits and we did the shoot at Juhu Beach. And I honestly didn't have to tell auntie to do anything. Okay, I'm like, auntie, I'm just going to give you chewing gum. You sit on that rock, do whatever. She's pulled it. She's like, put the hoodie on. I'm like, wow, auntie. And there was no place to change, okay? We did 2 looks. She's gone behind. There's like a hut situation. She's like, Vaishnavi, just put your hand out and cover me. I was like,
cool,
wow,
auntie.
man. And she's actually open to work also. You should definitely do something with her. She's done this shoot for, I think, Absolute and Human after she did like, but she's done quite a few shoots. And she's very enthused. So I think she kind of made the whole thing happen.
Yeah.
And I also had Vedant. He's one of my friends who's like a model. So together I made him wear this like this kanjivaram sari. I broke it down. I made a skirt and this square bralette. Like it was a conceptual piece and a jacket. So I was like, both of you just stand and do your thing. To a point that by the end of it, everyone got the vibe and assignment so well that even my makeup artist, like everyone's like, what? I'm standing in the corner. They're winging it. Like
Those
there's
are the
this,
best,
what is
yeah.
that guy? That thing, dude, you get at the beach. That chart thing. I don't
Chana
know.
chor garam.
Chana chor. He's come. He's like, आप अपना बैग हमको दे दो. उसका बैग पकड़ के आंटी एक साइड से बैग पकड़ रही है. This guy's holding it from the other side, and we're taking pictures like that. It was so fun, and we've gone in the middle of water, and like we felt something in the water. It was like a good experience overall, and the response was really good because this was something where I didn't do it for anything. Like I did it for myself. I did it for my nani. And for the team, like we did this as a project together with zero expectations. I just put the pictures out. They turned out really, really well. In fact, it was also displayed at this museum in the UK, which like India did this museum collaboration where all these pictures were put up, and we were featured on Homegrown as well, which just made it such a thing that you don't necessarily have to have a reason for doing something at all times. Sometimes creativity, just because you want to be creative, really works well. And I think that's how this whole thing went ahead.
I mean, it's amazing to think that it came out of such a difficult situation.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's
I think that's what made it in a way.
Yeah, so special. So, like, I wanted to talk about the whole New York Fashion Week bit since you all just started during COVID, and this was very like early on in your career. So, like, how did that happen?
I mean, it was, so we first went to Paris actually, and then we went to New York. But I feel like our New York moment was a full circle for us because, like I mentioned before, like we had to leave in such a haphazard way, and we didn't want to leave. It was not that like, it was our decision to leave and come back. We had like a whole life trajectory planned out there, everything in place. So it was a very heartbreaking situation with coming back. But of course, it ended up in us creating Rising Among because, like I said, we rose among that time of our life also. So going back to New York was a full circle for us. And that's why we called it Homecoming because, we are going back home. Like blending of cultures, like everything that I saw happen in that city is what inspired us to create Rising Among. And to be very honest, it was so much like Bombay on like the subways remind me of the trains here. and like the taxis remind me of the Kali Pilis here. So there's like so many
There's a lot
similarities.
of similarities, whatever.
So many similarities. The ceiling and like the Brooklyn Bridge, and like there's so many similarities, but still there are differences. So we try to blend that in the most best way possible with Homecoming, and we try to bring that out. And it was literally the most beautiful show ever because it was set against like the Hudson River, and like it was like a fully open, like white, like studio where the models were walking through. And I feel it was the most exhilarating and like thrilling feeling to be in that moment, and like just amazing. It was just like, oh my god, I get goosebumps every time I talk about it. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. So, like you said, this way, Homecoming was sort of your story, and this whole campaign that you did was inspired by your nani, or like a tribute to her in a way. So, our brands essentially are like extensions of our own selves, our lives, our identities, right? But we then have to come back to reality, to the business side of things, and as you mentioned, customer is the king. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys this classic scenario that I'm sure as designers we've all, been faced with, wherein this client sort of comes to you and shows you a Pinterest picture and goes like, listen, can you copy this for me? It's international. International है तो किसको पता चलेगा? It's not copying ना. And what do you do?
Dude, this happened to me very recently. There's this brand called Dust of Gods, and this guy sent me a picture, and he's like, hey, so that piece is 75 grams. Okay, he's like, hey, and he didn't ask, can you? He's like, hey, I need you to copy this for me.
Oh my
I was
God,
like,
he said
lovely.
copy?
Like, let's continue this conversation straight
Ah,
up.
so they
I was
say
like,
it
sure.
now.
Like, why you? I was like, I think you've gotten the wrong this thing. Like, whatever. We're a brand, but if you want to copy this, I can help you with a production unit or a local tailor's number. You can contact them. He's like, no, you have to make it. I'm like, pehle to tu hai kaun, bro? Like, what is this? What do you mean? I'm like, I'm sorry. We don't copy designs. If you really wanted, I understand the vibe of this outfit or the mood. I can create an original design in the mood, show it to you, and then we can go ahead. He's like, no. Actually, I want a copy. I was like, actually, I don't do this, yaar. I'm sorry. And then he just like, he sent me some rude message. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I think he must have gone to somebody else.
Yeah,
But
like,
it's
such
really
a
sad
crazy
when people do that.
situation, na? Like blatantly asking you to copy because like, what do you think we are?
No, you know now what you should do? You should make a business out of that. Just
Yeah.
get a local tailor under
like
you
hire
only कि ये
him,
कॉपी वाला है, इसमें टैग वैग कुछ भी मत लगाओ. ये जो बोल रहे हैं सस्ते कपड़े में बना के इसको दे दो कि वापस कभी पूछे ही ना कॉपी के लिए. Just do it and give it to this person.
No, I mean, I understand where a customer comes from, okay? Look, again, looking from the other side.
Yeah.
They are aspirational. They feel that, like, "Okay, this is something that I'm not going to get in, like, a Zara, Westside, and H&M. So let's try homegrown brands because they are already putting themselves out there as creating products, right? So I do understand where a customer comes from when they're like, okay, I want something like that. I'm not getting it in the market. But it's very important for us as designers, as brand owners, to put our identity into or inculcate it into the product and give them, and also make them aware about the fact that we will be doing that. Even if you're giving me something, I will be putting in my own touch into it, like when it comes to like the silhouette or like the trims or the fabrics, and like, you know, basically creating something which will look good on you. You have to trust me
Yeah,
because you've come to
yeah.
me, trust my process and trust my, like, you know, insight, and you'll get a great product at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
like it's okay to show me the mood
The
board.
mood,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I'll give
But
you
some really
sketches.
pressurize
You
you
have
that
to
they
give-
want
Exactly.
the replica.
You have to cut them slack sometimes where you're like, okay, they're not from a fashion background, they're not aware. They see
No,
five
of
people,
course.
5 celebrities
Yeah.
wearing it from like 5 international brands. They want something like that. So
Yeah,
we
no,
have to
But
cut.
no, see, that customer's okay. But then there are these customers who really like pressurize you to replicate it,
Exactly.
despite you telling them that, listen, this is not, we're not like a boutique tailor, right?
Yeah.
It's a brand. So we don't do this. It's not, I mean, it doesn't align with the
Right.
brand policy. I've sent literally that message that, you know, this is not my brand policy. It's like nobody's going to get to know. But I mean,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
disrespectful. Like, I'm
just
understanding
about-
your side, but like,
know,
okay,
I
look out this
Yeah.
side as
Yeah,
well,
and it's
right?
about integrity for ourselves
Yeah.
as well. And then there are clients who are like really amazing who will come to me, and they're my loyal clients. Like one of these ladies, she's like, if there's an event, it's always Ruology. So she came to me
Nice.
and she's like, okay, see, I know I'm showing you a reference, but I don't want you to like make the same thing. I trust you, but you get the vibe right. Sketch
Yeah.
out something new.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah,
I
that's
get,
fair.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
I will
that's-
put
that's
my
exactly
heart
what I'm
and
talking
soul
about.
into it. I'll take out time, time separately from the existing collection, and make it for you. But don't ask me to
Yeah.
blatantly copy something.
And that I think that comes from a side wherein the customer's like, okay, when I see this outfit, I know how this will look on me, so I wanted to replicate the
Yeah.
vibe and the fit, which is very okay because here the customer is like not very aware about, say, fashion.
Yeah,
but on the
they're
other
not.
hand, when they're like pushing you, like, oh, one of these customers, I made this chandelier, okay. And he sent me this message saying, why don't you stick to what your job is? I'm like, who are you to tell me what to do? I'm trying to do something. I am not selling this to you. I'm just being creative. You don't like it. You're open to have an opinion. But straight up messaging a brand that, oh, stick to what your job is very, very rude.
People love spreading
And
hate
sometimes
only.
because it's a brand, you can't even respond.
Yeah.
If it were my personal profile, I would have made a reel on that particular message. I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, bro, do not message me like that again.
Yeah, I mean it's
not.
some people just love spreading hate. Like that's their best
It's
thing
sad
to do.
because
It's very
you,
sad.
how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
And especially when you're like doing business, you're doing all of this all by yourself. Nobody's gonna now with you. Say you probably have like Amrita, you all share the you all.
Yeah, we
you
share
can't.
it.
I can't go and tell like my master ji ki master ji देखो credit पे मांग रहे हैं. How do you do this?
No, those are the worst people. Yeah, credit pe मांग रहे. Like that's just those.
Dude, this one chick is like, babe, it's IFA. So I mean, my fabric, and I can't go and tell the vendor na कि babe, it's IFA. दे दो कपड़ा.
Babe,
Doesn't
it's
work
IFA.
like that.
I know, and this like actually brings me to this really fun discussion that I wanted to do, like tap into streetwear, but it's about this whole idea of logo mania and this thing like whenever we think about streetwear, I think the first person that comes to mind is Virgil Abloh, right? So there's this one thing that he'd said like long ago, and I've like written it down. He'd said streetwear is gonna die soon, but a lot of people like take it the wrong way. What he meant was that the logo mania is soon gonna disappear. But in India, this society that is so obsessed with logos being like their status quo.
Balmain.
Yes. Do you think
Gucci.
we're ever gonna like
Get
reach
over
that?
it?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, we
yes.
will get
India,
over
in
it.
I think
Yeah.
now because
We
I see a
already
lot
have.
of creators push reels where you're like, where they're making reels against like this whole logo mania thing and talking about genuine art and like proper clothes. And I think if you see also now it's reduced. Like earlier, maybe if you go to a gym, you'll see all these gym boys, having selfies in like a Balmain or like a Gucci Armani exchange
Yeah,
and like the
Armani
typical
exchange,
like
Armani exchange.
yeah, like you'll never see them at a Jacquemus. That's not happening. You will see them in Armani exchange only. But it's dying slowly, which is a great thing. It needs to die. It needs to
Definitely.
die.
Like I don't want those logos flashing in my face.
Like it's okay to wear a logo. It's not bad. But if you're buying a brand, or like say now you want to buy a luxury brand, but you're buying the logo T-shirt because that's the only entry product you could probably
Yeah.
buy at this point, that is one thing. But if you're buying it to show that, oh, this is the money I have and I'm wearing this Gucci monogram or head like a Rocky Randhawa style, I don't get it. Like if that is your origin, if a Ranveer Singh does it, it's very different because
Yeah.
it's
It's
a
his
personal
identity.
style. Yeah,
It's
it's
his
identity.
identity.
But if you're doing it because you want to show or slap money in my face,
No.
that's not fashion. Like that's I think a proper example of like money doesn't buy you taste. Because you can all there's like a lot of products you can buy, but you want to buy the Gucci Ace, then I don't know what to say to you.
That's perfectly correct, because even I believe like you need to start realizing that fashion is more than just a status quo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's an art, it's a story. We're
I mean, but like
It's
when used,
expression,
but of course
especially.
I understand the fact with the logo, right? It's the entire identity of your brand, and you can of course mold it in many different ways and like put it in very different ways. So it also depends on like how you are integrating that within your identity or within your
Yeah.
garment, and that plays a huge role also, because sometimes you do want to integrate
a logo.
a logo in
And
places.
it looks good. When
Just
it's
like the pants
personal
that you're
style.
wearing right now.
Yeah,
It has a
yeah.
logo, like one
But
is
when
not
it's
not
slapping
in
it in the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
you made a print out of it.
Yeah.
You made
Yeah.
something different out of
So
it.
we've kind of established that print throughout the collection in different places. So it's not that it's just on like as like a small 1.5 inch logo on like this the chest over here, or like
Or
you know,
like a big
or like a big
Justin.
metallic pasted print on like the center of the t-shirt. It's not that. It's of course like you have to kind of like build it into the design, and that's where logos come to play. Like, you know, they have to be so
Yeah.
seamlessly in the brand that you don't even notice that it's there.
No, plus, and you know, there's a different sort of a happiness that you get when a certain person sends you a picture and goes like, this is Ruology or this is
Yeah.
a Balav, and
Without
it
the
wasn't even
logo.
written there.
Yeah, that's really,
actually
really impressive.
appreciation of design, right? Like you won't see any, like even Miu Miu has these shirts that have the logo, but that doesn't look flashy because I think that's part of like a brand identity that they're trying to build.
Yeah.
And you will never see anybody wear that. Like you won't see a guy in the gym wearing a Miu Miu or Loewe.
course.
You will see them in these particular 3 brands all the time. You won't see a Prada as much as you see an Armani Exchange.
Yeah, I think we need to thank you because you're doing that for all of the homegrown
Yeah, you're like
brands.
standing.
Thanks, guys.
You're
I've
like,
actually stopped. It's been
No, but I
a
think
week
even
or more.
doing it for
For
the
a
amount of
long
time, you did it,
time,
I
I
think
mean.
no
I
one's
did
gonna
like a
forget it.
90-day challenge. I did it for 120 days.
Wow.
Then I was like, it's gotten a little monotonous, a little boring. So now I'm like thinking of a newer.
Yeah.
I'm
but
going
you
to take up
said
another
you
challenge.
tried to create a space for yourself, which is really good, and that's what we're all doing in so many different ways. So I don't think you should listen to the people ki like. Do
I mean,
your
initially,
job
dude, a lot
or
of people are
do
like,
your
oh,
brand,
don't do
this,
And it was
that.
very, very demotivating. Like, I'd feel like I'd cringe at my own content, you know, ki yaar, is this lame? Am I being dumb or what? I just went with it. I have a mentor who's like, you know, I don't think you need to care about what anybody has to say because if you're getting a sale, now I don't even have a Shopify website, so the cha-ching doesn't happen on the other websites. So I was like, okay, now I need to open my website to see if the sale has happened because I won't get the notification. So, but see, if you're getting a sale or if you're helping some, like my vision as a designer is to help people feel better about themselves with the help of clothes. And if I'm doing that with someone through my reel, which I saw a lot of people, I mean, these girls would DM me that, you know, I listened to you and I started ear stacking, or like,
Yeah.
I listened to you and
My
I
sister,
wear like
I showed
jewelry.
to her.
Really? And that was like, okay, wow, people actually listen to this or like are getting motivated. So this one day I was like really overwhelmed and I almost cried. I was like, oh my god, dude, it's making a difference. So I'm not gonna care what anybody has to say. I'll just do it.
And I feel like it's cringe until it's not. Once it's
Yeah,
there,
Not
well,
yeah, once it's
exactly.
not,
Dude,
everyone
every
wants it.
creator you see today like milking it and making bank.
Yeah.
Bank is like an understatement. They all started like
There.
with being insulted or something like, oh,
Yeah,
ye
it's
to reel
like
banate
ये तो
hai,
dance
cringe
कर रहे
hai.
हैं, they're on TikTok, they're
And they
here,
didn't
they're
care.
there.
I think these guys are like motivation for me. There's this creator, G. Taylor.
Oh, yeah,
He
of course.
inspired
We
me
have
to
worked
be
with him.
consistent. Honestly, I've seen that guy. He will just be at it the whole time. I was like, bro,
He has
this
very
guy
clean,
very,
classy
yeah,
content,
fully
like,
inspired
very
me to like
clean.
start content.
Yeah.
I've never told him this. If you're watching this, yeah, thank you very much.
no, someone like that I think would be Ishita Mangal for me also because I
yeah, I've
think
seen her reel.
during COVID she had just
The
started
short
out.
hair. No, that's
No, no.
Ishita.
Ishita
Bole,
Mangal
I
is
think.
someone who started, I think she's the first one in India who started educational fashion content but funny. So then when she had started during COVID, she had very few followers and on YouTube though it's such a slow growth and I followed her journey since then and the consistency because to educate while being funny,
It's very
my
difficult,
god. And now she's like done it, she's everywhere. And initially I did see like a few comments that were like cringe and this and that, but she was at it and she's made it.
No, I
think
mean,
people
creators
are
are
always
doing
going to call
great.
you out for
Yeah.
whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
and you just have to be. And I think I found this one thing that if you want to be consistent, the easiest way is to start shabby because if you're looking for the perfect opportunity, you can't do it every day. You can't have the perfect hair and makeup and like lighting every day. I
Yeah,
think you just do
location,
it. You
sometimes
just,
you're here, sometimes you're
there.
there.
There are days when I have like the perfect light, my hair is done, but there'll be one day I've just woken up. I'm like, bro, आज की reel नहीं बनी है. I'll just make it like that. And I have that chashma. The chashma hides my face. I'll just wear that and then make the reel. But now I found like formulas. So when you're doing stuff, right,
Yeah,
your
you
brain
find your own
eventually
ways
finds ways to
to-
like make it work. And that's what happened. I've done this too many times.
It's okay. I'm getting to the controversial bit. Okay. Okay, so before I get into the controversial question, I'm just gonna ease into it by saying this one thing that, again, Virgil Abloh once said. So he said, streetwear is an art movement. It's a response to culture, not just fashion. It's youth, it's rebellion, it's identity. It's more about the message than the fabric. So now, do you think the brands in India who call themselves streetwear are really abiding by this whole idea of streetwear? Because when streetwear even picked up, the main thing that came to mind was rebellion.
No, I don't think brands are following that because I've had a lot of brand like people who want to start brands ask me if I want to design as a ghost designer for them, and I'll be like, okay, we can see, we can look into it because
Consider.
I don't do t-shirts or whatever. Let's hear it. And they, what's your story or what do you want to sell? Like, nahi t-shirt बेच के पैसा मिलता है तो करना है. No, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
like
think
the
that works.
bottom line, and again, giving everyone the benefit of the doubt here. I'm giving it because it comes from the West, right? You've seen brands like Supreme who have built their entire culture, but again,
Yeah.
they have a story. It comes
Everybody has a
underground.
story,
It comes
right?
from
Yeah.
from skating culture, from like all of those things. It kind of comes from there. So here, when people are starting these T-shirt brands with like
And dude,
puff
Supreme
print
is a
on it.
really old brand.
It's,
That's
it's
just
from the
like grown up.
70s, bro. Like it's
it's
like
a
70s, 80s.
legacy.
It's
Yeah.
really, it has a huge history coming to it. So they've adapted that, right? They've adapted that. They've adapted anti-social, social club. These were the
Yeah.
brands I know I was aware of in like 2018, 2019 when I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
aware about streetwear, because these are the ones that are picking up in the West. So it has trickled down here in India through retailers, through resellers. People start to buy these things, and that's where it has come from. And they have not understood the identity behind even putting a logo on a t-shirt, or even putting a puff print or a screen print or a logo
They're
print
just
on a
doing
t-shirt.
it because people feel like, okay, this is bringing the money, and it might bring you the money, but it's not a long-term idea, because even like Essentials for that matter, it comes from Fear of God. Fear
Yeah.
of God has a story.
Story.
They just introduce an
Definitely.
easy-to-buy entry product, which is the Essentials t-shirt, but everyone's like, oh, inka
You'd
4,000
put that
hai,
into
to we'll also
loungewear,
make.
bro. You'd put that
Yeah,
into
exactly.
loungewear. It doesn't essentially become
Streetwear or like-
because they are not slapping prints all over it.
And I think they have a there's like a one-track identity,
An
like
aesthetic.
5 muted
Colours.
and like one aesthetic.
just one kind of print, like a rubberized puff print goes on top, like a HD print goes on top of it. It's not changing. That's just been
Yeah, they're not adding, like, there's no flowers, fire, like, there's not a lot happening on it every collection, right? Like,
Yeah.
here, if you see, there are brands that, I mean, like, say, for example, a Blue Orange, okay, they're selling t-shirts, but I think they have
They have an identity.
They have an
Yeah,
identity.
identity.
They have a background. Like, they have a racer collection. It makes sense, okay, racers ke liye banaya hai. Office collection, okay, this is for people who want to wear a chill outfit to the office. But then there'll be a brand that will come, slap the same thing on their
Yeah,
thing.
why are they copying
with
them?
zero story.
Yeah.
You are
and they'll
seeing-
write they'll write
Yeah.
anything. Like, they will write anything is something they will write on that t-shirt.
I
It's
have
like,
seen so many people copy jaywalking t-shirts. Matlab ho gaya na.
Yeah.
Be like, he's already making them so well. Why are you copying them again?
So that brings me to the question. Now, this you're not gonna name, but I'm still gonna ask it. If there was a brand that you had to name right now, who's calling themselves streetwear, is super hyped, but you don't think should be super hyped.
super hyped.
Hyped. I don't think these hype brands come into that category.
I can't
only.
think of anything.
Really?
No, like, I know a few brands that are super hyped.
No, I feel-
But they are more or less streetwear because they must have started randomly, but they've all come to a track now where they're building on a story. So that makes sense. But Wait,
But
let
a
me
lot of the
think.
brands, right, which who we are talking about right now, essentially, they come from this new wave of like brands where they've seen these brands come up initially, and now they're just trying to duplicate and replicate them. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't say any of the brands who've kind of like already created an identity and a story are doing this, because even if you started off with t-shirts, yes, jaywalking has been the person to begin streetwear within India, and we have to give him due credit for that.
Of
Like, I
course.
don't think we should take that away from
Of
him.
course.
So he began that journey, right, for all of us. Like he walked and then we ran. Here.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. So that created a separate whole movement. But the brands which are coming up right now, they are just trying to emulate from that and like create more
But
and
in fact,
more.
now I've been seeing a lot of brands that are actually doing design. Like there's Outbreak Lab. That's like insane.
Yeah, very
dude. That
nice.
that brand's too good.
There's actually one more brand. Remember, we were at the same pop-up in Raipur, Art by Sehgal or something.
Yeah,
This
Code Brown.
artist-
Code Brown.
Code
Yeah.
Brown is lovely.
Yeah,
like,
and
lovely.
even see, they have like their designs might not. It's not an invention. They're making the same shirt, but the
T-shirts
print
also,
on
the
it is
print
an
on it.
original artwork, which
And they're
makes so
doing
much
mixed
sense.
media. Like there's
Yeah,
embellishment,
yeah.
there's print, there is like different kind of
Artwork in
things.
itself is
Dude, the
so
artwork is
crazy.
very
Because he's an
deep, like, it's
artist.
too
He's an
intricate.
artist himself.
And I think what he does is he blends Indian mythology with
yeah.
street and like
Yeah,
elements from like
Yeah. Okay, no worries. Last question for, I think, yeah, for the whole thing for you all and streetwear. What would you think is the one thing in the streetwear scene right now that is super overhyped and really needs to leave? Like that one element or
puff
one.
print. Puff print.
That was
Puff
instant.
print needs to leave. Like
Well,
right
it also
now.
cracks after some time. Like no matter how much ever good quality you put in and how much ever you like do it, it does. Like it's
I
not.
think even that font, that gothic, the
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
know, I
about?
know what
That
you're
font
talking
needs
about.
to leave.
Yeah.
And the fire, like the thrasher vibe,
Yeah.
needs to
It
leave.
was a thing, bhai. At one
Yeah,
time
it
it
was.
was.
Yeah, but
but
it's
abhi
in
it's done now.
2018,
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
It's over.
I think we're going into a more clean, minimal, structured sort of like an aesthetic, and it's fine. Like with parts of it being like maximal. Also, I would say there's
Yeah,
like a
like-
blend, a good blend of it happening. That's where we are heading.
Yeah, I don't think we're like completely heading towards minimalism. There is a lot of maximalism that is here to stay, but I think identity is the most important thing right now. You just have to stand out by
Yeah.
being yourself. So,
Which I think a lot of brands need to also understand that you have to come with a USP, and that USP cannot be that you're making the same t-shirt in like a 5
color.
GSM extra
You won't
fabric.
believe it, okay? The screen printer we work with, he's like, मैडम एक बार आए थे puff print कराने के लिए, and उसको और उठाओ, और उठाओ, और उठाओ. अरे कितना? How much do we puff the bloody thing? Like it's gonna break apart. Like what do you want? Literally, that has just stayed in my head. कि people are so just with the idea of the fact that someone has done it, and we need to create it, and we need to create it like 10 times bigger and better than that person. That's the only rat race. That's what people are trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, ki that's the
Yeah.
only thing.
Yeah, I
they're
get
not putting the story behind it or the identity behind it.
Not
We just
that.
want
Yeah,
our
and
puff to be 5 millimeter
But
above the other
I've
guy.
not seen any original design in a very long time. Like you see the same T-shirts with another like a different text on it. This one has a rose, so that one have a sunflower. Like that's the only difference you're seeing. It's so sad.
And
dude,
the,
like-
and the height of the puff also changes. No?
yeah, yeah. You know. And maybe it lasts for like 2 washes.
Two
more.
washes more, maybe. Yeah.
Could be.
And not just that, also the GSM increases. We need 450 GSM, we need 650 GSM. In this bloody heat,
550.
why are you
Dude,
wearing
my
such
vendors,
heavy
like, there are
GSM?
guys making 550 GSM hoodies in Bombay.
Like,
I was
what
like,
are you?
why does
Are you
anybody
living
wanna
in
wear
another
that?
temperature
because
or
nobody
another like
cares
climate?
about the skin anymore.
Yeah, like what is this? Just the GSM and the puff height increases. That's all.
And also, I think the fleece, that fabric needs to go. It's over. It's
Enough.
over. Yeah, they're the main supplier, but
Yeah.
go and ask him कि भैया और दिखाओ. Don't pick the
Yeah.
same fabric everyone's picking. Dude, it's a standard thing. You know, I've seen a lot of people go blue orange wala fabric दिखाओ. करने दो ना, let them use their fabric.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so irritating.
It has become a thing. I've heard that.
It's so sad. Like how irritating it must be for them. Yeah, like.
I think this
Good
has
for
been like
them.
super fun and like controversial, very controversial. But like, thank you so much, guys, for being so
Thank you for
enthusiastic.
having us.
and
We enjoyed. I think
letting
we started
me-
off on a different note and we've ended on a fully
I've
different
slipped
note.
on the sofa so many times.
Yeah, now I'm slipping.
Thank you so much for letting me pester y'all continuously for 2 hours
We
now.
enjoyed.
2 hours okay.
We didn't
Yeah,
even feel like
but for that, I'm gonna give you all a gift, which is this section that we have where guest becomes the host, and we sort of flip the script, and each of you get one question, no boundaries whatsoever. Y'all can ask me, and now I'm on the guest chair.
It can be controversial.
Oh,
Then you have to answer. You won't have a choice. You have to name drop. Otherwise, how's it fun? That has to be the reel ka, the clip.
हाँ, ठीक है. I know what I'm asking. Can I go first?
Oh my god!
Can I go
I
first?
sat
Yeah,
on. This is like coming back to me.
We're talking about stylists.
Okay, best and worst.
Huh. Okay, yeah, we
Describe them.
Yeah.
Don't name drop. I think
just
That's-
describe your worst stylist
encounter.
and experience. Just describe it. We'll know.
I have. Oh, I don't think y'all will know, but okay. So this one time, this person has messaged me, or I think she's DM'd me or something on Instagram or mailed me, and apparently I haven't seen those couple of messages. And guys, like we have so many stylists and interns constantly messaging us. We
Yeah.
have vendors constantly messaging us. Now I don't know what has happened, but I have finally come down to that message, and now this is really funny. There is a big paragraph, and before I can even say anything, I have been blocked.
You have been blocked.
Yes,
Wow. My God.
because
ego
I
hurt ho
haven't
gaya.
responded in time.
That's damn funny.
Yeah. You have been. It was her job, no, that had to get done, and you have
That's
been
so
blocked.
random. Why
And
would somebody
I'm
do
just like, guys, it's okay to like respond to messages later. We're
Yeah.
all in this
Would I
world
respond
where
after 5 days? And
yes, I
especially to
respond after
everyone.
months
If
sometimes
it's that urgent,
to my
call.
best friends. Yes,
Call
exactly.
if it's that urgent.
And please, it cannot be that urgent. We are in a field of
I mean,
fashion,
yeah,
not in
yeah.
a field
And
of
if you,
medical.
okay, but just 1 second. If you are not available, she's gonna move on to the next
Next-
designer
Exactly.
very easily.
But even if she is available, they'll ask
They-
5
yeah,
other
And
you are
designers.
gonna-
it's not like I have given you my word and like there is some exchange happening. There's nothing. This is just
just
a
missed a
sourcing
message.
request. Yeah, I missed a request.
My God.
I miss, like, I mean, I'm sure you all can relate. Yeah, there are so many sourcing requests
What the
happening
I want to know
around
the name
clock.
afterward.
Yeah, I do.
Too funny.
Too
Oh
funny.
God.
Ego hurt ho gaya na, बेचारे.
Yeah, I
Was this
was.
the head stylist or the team? Because
Team
5
member
people will message you that I'm from this
Haan,
one's team,
dude.
and then the team person be like, "This is me." Like, so who was
Guys,
this?
no, let's not do this.
Oh, they say it was the main guy or like
Side
the
guy.
team.
Oh my God, I have one more experience though.
Yes, go for it.
Now this though I wanted out there. But like, okay, I'm not gonna name drop. This was for a celebrity, but the outfit was supposed to be bought. So you try it and then you buy it.
Yeah.
I've already seen the outfit out there. I haven't received my payment, and this is like 1 month into launching the brand. And that person has called when I asked for my payment, because it's all out there, it's done. I have called that person, and that person has said this to me: you must be new to the industry, so learn your way around it, because this happens.
This is how it is.
This is how it is. And I haven't
Dude, I would
received
never
my
take that. I don't let the piece go only.
no, I haven't
Acha, हाँ, but it's
received my
approval वाला.
payment for the next 3 months.
Dude, that's crazy.
And I was just starting out. This was 1 month into Ruology. At that point, when someone says this to you, you're just like,
Yeah, very demotivating. Imagine you're in a situation, okay, and your ex's current girlfriend walks in wearing your outfit, like a Ruology outfit. What would your reaction be?
dude, business over love always. I'd be like, smash.
I love that.
Smash audacious Ruology, you're going on my page.
Nice. Good one.
Love that.
Always.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Love
so
that.
like off the-
Absolutely.
People must think I'm so cold hearted.
It's,
No,
there's
no, I
nothing
think it's
cold
fair.
hearted in that.
It's-
I think
yeah, it's a fair answer.
It's again like, you know, making the most out of the opportunity.
Yeah, like what's gone is gone.
But would you go and talk to her?
Why not? I'd be
You'd be
like,
like, I made
amazing
that.
outfit.
I made that.
Yeah.
You look that way because of me.
Oh god. But yeah, this has been amazing. So we're gonna end this with like a super fun game,
Okay.
which is like a rapid fire designers edition, where I'm gonna give you like 3 or 4 trends, and y'all can either keep it or cut it.
That.
Don't think. 3 seconds, immediate. Keep it or cut it.
Wait, do we say
You
it
like it
together,
together?
or individually? Do we do it individually?
Whatever.
It's the same question, right?
Yeah.
So I think we'll do it together.
Together. We
Yeah.
just do like one.
Yeah.
We'll just like scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are we doing it after 1, 2, 3 or just instant?
No, just like scream.
No, I'll just say the word and then you scream.
Survival of the fittest style.
Oh, okay. Ready.
Okay, skirt over jeans.
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 No, guys, skirt
Oh,
over
skirt.
jeans.
Cut it, cut it, cut it,
Oh
cut
no,
it.
no, yeah, cut.
Cut.
Sorry.
Lingerie as outerwear.
Keep.
Keep. Indian. I like it.
Balenciaga Crocs with heels.
100% keep. I love Balenciaga.
I'm cut. Sorry.
Love
That's
Balenciaga.
Not my vibe. Not my vibe.
I'll totally buy that.
Okay, last one. I don't know why I'm doing this in every podcast. Labubu's.
Cut.
Cut, burn,
cut,
burn
cut,
it.
cut.
I hate La Boo Boos.
Cut
Have you
it.
heard that song? La Boo Boo, La Boo Boo. Oh my God, why does
my
that
God.
exist? It's so irritating. It is so.
Oh,
Are they're selling them on Blinkit now, dude, for 700
That's
bucks?
La Foo Foo.
Yeah, but
That's
I
not-
saw it. They're like, it's coming on Blinkit now.
oh my god, I love
You can
this.
get one order in 10 minutes.
People have
in
started
time.
crocheting it. Like, there's this guy who does like crochet videos. I don't remember his name. He does like crochet by Kunal, dude. His work is so. He's made like this Labubu, which looks exactly like the Labubu,
Yeah,
just
see,
like
that
a
I'd
crochet one.
appreciate. That I'd
Yeah,
appreciate.
that's very good actually.
But Labubu's ban.
Burn.
Thank you.
So how
We're
are they even
ending it on a very amazing note, for which we might also get banned, just by the way. But thank you so much. This has been amazing. You guys, do not forget to follow Vaishnavi, Bala, and Ria, and their brands, Balav and Rising Among, and help us all grow.
And shop.
Yes,
We need the
shop,
cha-ching.
cha-ching. And remember to stay audacious and curious. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!